showing liveness, right?
Okay. Hello and welcome to the Moreness-Culture. And today we are going to share Moreness, and we have, of course, subtopics. But again, it's an ongoing continuity of Carlos Castaneda's books about Don
Yeah.
Juan right now. So we will continue with that. But I'm so keen. Okay, welcome to the show, Brain, also. Okay. And
Yes.
welcome everyone who is going to watch us live and will join us, of course, will join us live and will watch us recorded later. You all are most welcome to the Moreness-Culture here right now.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
I'm
Oh
most keen to get some more elucidation from Syl on some topics, but we will continue maybe tomorrow because these topics might take more than an hour, like attunement, like some other topics, which was really fun. I must say that whoever is having any unclarity about, having some doubts about, some confusions about attunement, please do watch the Moreness Show. We have it's available on YouTube. It is also available on Spotify and boulder TV, because that was something huge for people who are interested in this type of stuff. This is huge. This was something really, I was like, wow, okay, it was mind blowing for me. Again, this is my personal recommendation. This is my personal choice. I don't know about others, but I was super impressed. Super
On what,
excited.
Beena? I must what
I'm,
you
I'm talking
referring to?
about,
Yeah.
I'm sharing about the Moreness Show, last Moreness Show we did
Oh,
about
oh yeah.
one,
Oh yeah. It was
about
fabulous.
attunement. That was
Oh yeah.
amazing. That was amazing.
Oh yeah. I agree. Wonderful. Yeah. Beena, I must add into the post where to see them all. Just novelia.org/Moreness Show. You can catch up on all the past episodes. Very easy to remember.
I
Right?
was thinking that we can start sharing links after the show,
Right.
whatever uh,
Right.
live we will do. We will share the link
Right.
in the description.
Yeah. Yeah. It's right there. All the episodes on that page. Novelia.org/Moreness Show. You go there, you'll see them all there, all the episodes, all nice together. Tells you about the Moreness Show. There's a whole long article about Moreness as well. There's lots of stuff going on there. But it just can easy to click on all the shows. Very easy to see whichever one you want or watch them all in order and so on. It's very easy. Very easy. All right, we'll go in a moment. We'll go in a moment. Uh, yeah, it was a good show. Good show. I enjoyed it. You too. It's all right, Beena? Enjoyed it, yeah.
Yes, that was really exciting topic. Okay,
Yeah.
not only the
We'll do
topic,
more
but
next week, by the way. We're going to continue with anomalies.
yes, oh yes, oh yes. Okay,
Yeah, it's more. It's always more. It's always more. Always more. Always. And also, uh, you know, not just anomalies, but paying attention to attunement. It's also important. It's a new habit that we have to cultivate. And we're not in that mindset of perceiving, relating, connecting to the world in that particular way. Yes. The world is just the world for the most part. It's like inert, and it doesn't really connect to us on a personal basis. It's impersonal. But with attunement, very, very personal. That's to get out of that habit also, right? Rena? That mindset. Anyway, we'll talk about that next week.
yes,
But
yes. I muted myself because I was just sharing things on YouTube. That's why.
yeah, no, it's fine. I figured. It's all good. It's all good. All right. Let's get to going. Let's get to going. All right. Share. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. There's my share. There we go. Sharing is such a one thing. I had an anomaly yesterday, a double anomaly. Quite interesting. Oh. All right, Beena. Did I don't know if I shared correct. Try that again.
No. You were not sharing.
There we go. Share specifically. Now I'm good, right? All right. Ready to go, Beena? We're ready to go. So we were here where Don Juan is introducing capital D dreaming. Yeah? And it's a big deal. It's a big deal. So it's under the heading of this chapter we're on is being accessible to power, making oneself accessible to power. And Don Juan says this to Carlos. He says, become accessible to power, tackle your dreams. You call them dreams because you have no power. A warrior, being a person who seeks power, doesn't call them dreams, calls them real. Continue, Beena, keep going.
Yes. Okay. You were saying that's why I was.
Oh, yeah, I was just continuing from where we left off.
Okay. You mean he takes his dreams as being reality?
He doesn't take anything as being anything else. What you call dreams are real for a warrior. You must understand, a warrior is not a fool. A warrior is an immaculate hunter who hunts power. Right? They're not drunk or crazed, and they have neither the time nor the disposition to bluff or to lie to themselves to make a wrong move. The stakes are too high for that. The stakes are their trimmed, orderly life, which they have taken so long to tighten and perfect. They're not going to throw that away by making some stupid miscalculation, by taking something or being something else. Dreaming is real for warriors because in it they can act deliberately, choose and reject. They can select from a variety of items, those which lead to power, and then they can manipulate them and use them, which in an ordinary dream, while in an ordinary dream, they cannot act deliberately.
Do you mean then, Don Juan, that dreaming is real?
Of course, it's real.
As real as what we are doing now?
If you want to compare things, I can say it is perhaps more real. In dreaming, you have power. You can change things. You may find out countless concealed facts. You can control whatever you want. Yeah, whereas in regular life, you don't have that amount of power and control, right?
Yes. Don Juan's premise always had appealed to me at a certain level. I could easily understand his liking the idea that one could do anything in dreams, but I could not take him seriously. The jump was too great. Wow.
Look at Carlos's prejudice here, right? I
Yes.
could easily understand his liking the idea. Don Juan's not liking the idea, it's a reality to him. You just think Don Juan is saying this as if this is something that, well, that would be nice to do, it's not an idea. He does it. He's telling you he's doing it. Or is he lying to you now? I don't know. Sometimes
Kind of.
Carlos's brain just
This is
blows my
yeah.
mind.
This is it seemed like from his responses or from his thoughts after that he is actually innately convinced that whatever Don Juan is saying,
Yeah.
like 90% is just bluff
Right,
and lie.
right, right. Well, because that's the world he lives in. Most of the people that he interact, 90% of the time, what they're saying is BS. All right, let's continue. Where'd you go?
We looked at each other for a moment. His statements were insane, and yet he was, to the best of my knowledge, one of the most level headed men I had ever met. I told him that I could not believe he took his dreams to be reality. He chuckled as if he knew the magnitude of my untenable position. Okay, then
Untenable,
he,
yeah.
yeah, untenable position. Then he stood up without saying a word and walked inside his house. I sat for a long time in a state of stupor until he called me to the back of his house. He had made some corn gruel and handed me a bowl. I asked him about the time when one was awake. I wanted to know if he called it anything in particular, but he did not understand or did not want to answer. Wow. Okay. He did not understand.
Yeah. Before I go a little further, one moment, right?
Yes.
Carlos is sitting there in a state of stupor because somebody has said something to him that is profoundly preposterous to Carlos. Why is it preposterous? Because it is saying reality is different to how you know it. Okay.
Yes.
In this time of Carlos, this was a very big deal. Yes. It was, you know, a time when science was coming up very strong, right? You know, the 50s, because this is early 60s, so basically the 50s culture. You know, post World War, everything is very sober, very realistic. You're getting down to business. You're working, productive, and it's all, you know, science. All the new things, washing machines and stuff like this are coming out, right? And anything that's mumbo jumbo, or you know, anything that's in that realm, is just you crazy, you silly, you foolish, and you don't even think about it. But yeah, Don Juan comes along, and he says it very seriously and soberly, and Carlos can't reconcile the two because Don Juan is a sensible guy, the most sensible and level-headed guys ever met, but yet he's saying this preposterous thing. In our world today, we see the dangers of preposterous mindsets, people willing to believe just anything. We see the downside of it. There's also the plus side that people are more open. Like, I don't think in today's world, if Carlos was writing this, he would never have this. It's like, oh, okay, that's very interesting. Tell me more. Right? Because the climate has changed. We're open to things like this because we've heard of maybe lucid dreaming or this or that or whatever, right? It's an entirely different world to them. You know, spirituality and all the stuff. Yeah, some people still think it's a lot of nonsense, but there's a greater openness to it, right? Back in that time, meditation was a weird thing. If you did meditation, you were a weirdo, Beena. Did you
Wow.
know that? Oh,
No.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Today, meditation is included in most insurance medical health policies, you know, as a preventative measure.
Hmm.
You know, it's like it's become mainstream, right? It's like a duh, right? But at that time, so it's very interesting the context, yes, and the bubble in which one believes. But not only that, I want to make this point though about people's willingness to believe things that are, let's say, your reality is different. Yes, I mean, just look at the politics. People are saying the most ridiculous things. And I see posts regularly about, I don't know, Anunnaki or this or that, you know, aliens doing this and that back in the past. And nobody has any evidence for it, but they say it like it's totally true. And here's the thing that is very interesting. There are many people who simply accept it as fact because it's stated as fact. They don't know what it's based on. They just assume there's some proof and some logic, and but the person making that post has none whatsoever. They're just making a claim. In the same way, from Carlos's position, yeah, Don Juan is claiming this about the dreams. He has no way of proving it. He simply has to take Don Juan's word for it. Now, like I was saying last time we did this, sometimes we have to take Don Juan at his word. And why do we do this? Because the things that we can verify, the things that we know from our own experience, and just the amount of self-evident sensibilities lead us to believe that this is a sensible fellow and he's got integrity and impeccability. I have no reason to doubt what he says. I mean, I still would like to verify it for myself, of course. You always have to do that. But this is something very profound. Well, I personally can say that, capital D dreaming is a reality. I have done it myself. Actually, just like 2 weeks ago, I had a capital D dream. Very cool. After a long while of not having it, which really puzzles me, but I know I can do it deliberately. It took me a ton of effort. I mean, really, like an act of concentration like I've never done before. I don't know, it seemed to me too much effort for the reward. So, but it came again, so it'll come again. So, all right. So where we are. Uh, there. What do we call this? Please continue. What do you call this, Beena?
Okay. Before we continue with this, I
Oh,
just want to share something. I read a story first time when I read your story, and I heard your story. Actually, you were sharing that, the Bushman story.
oh yeah,
And yes, and you shared something about like when they offered you a meat, a
oh
donkey
yeah.
meat, and it was
Well,
cooked, and it was on a in a
yeah.
very like a small broken chip saucer, and
Late,
then they
right,
presented
right.
the way they
Well,
would eat it.
eventually when they offered, it was a whole
Yes,
rigmarole before it came to that. Yes,
yes, yes.
yes. What about
I
that,
don't want to
Beena?
I don't want to give any spoiler there, but yes,
Oh,
it is
right,
that
right.
this story is very profound. But anyway,
Oh, yeah.
and you were eating that. My
Oh,
initial
goodness.
feeling, a response, internal response towards that. Oh yes, like okay, donkey meat. Okay, that was
Yeah,
my idea.
yeah,
This was the initial, and I was thinking about that. It never left me because I was thinking why I was feeling that. First
yeah.
thing, the yuck was what's the yuck in it? Okay,
Exactly.
uh, that was I was asking myself. Oh, because I never met anyone who eat donkey meat before. Okay, so that was
Yeah,
like okay. Second part, which was very profound in my understanding, because according to my religion, this is not halal. Okay, that was my understanding. Again, I'm not saying that it is yes haram or not halal. No, I'm not going into that debate. I'm just saying according to my understanding that my religion was like okay, oh, saying that okay, it's haram. But then again, I kept asking myself questions that okay, is it because of my religious obligation? I said yes. Is it because of like oh yeah, that was something like not nice? Okay, unethical. What actually was feeling me, making me feel like yes. And the conclusion I had after many days actually, I had was it was just the newness out of my understanding, out of my box,
yeah,
and I was negating it. And that was
yeah.
the lesson one of my friend my childhood friend, you can say that almost, he's shared with me when I was laughing at like okay, that person was not aware the guy was wearing a shocking pink color, the whole suit. Okay, and I suddenly I was laughing because it was like sunny day in Karachi, it's afternoon, and he was walking on the street, and I laughed. And my friend literally he was in a shock and disappointed with me, almost upset. How could you laugh? And I said, oh, he's not away. He said, no, he doesn't know that. But Veena, if you would be there and he could see and hear you, you are going to really shatter his whole confidence, his whole mood, his joy and happiness. And I said, but it's weird because I was trying to give him excuse. And he says, no, everything is weird which you don't do, which is out of your knowledge.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Weird is not defined by an objective standard, typically.
Yes,
It's very subjective weird. And
exactly.
it's quite fascinating how we do that.
Yes,
I mean, to eat donkey meat is maybe weird for you, but what makes it weird
exactly.
in and of itself? Right.
Exactly, it is not. But
Yeah.
that was my initial
Very good,
response, and
Beena. Very
I
good.
never leave that. I keep thinking about that. why it was yucks for me. Oh, initial like okay response that it was all because of lack of understanding, lack of awareness, and that thing came back to me when I shared that okay, one of my online friends, they become aware that okay, I'm a Muslim. So they say, oh, you guys have this this cousin marriage allowed, and for me it was like duh, and I said yes. And they was like, how, how you guys can accept this? And that moment made me realize it is exactly like eating donkey meat, Nina. For them it
Yeah,
was normal, for
exactly.
you it was like yeah, okay. And
Yeah.
now these people are asking you how you guys can accept this idea, and I was like wow. So everything is weird which is out of our norm, our practice, our understanding can be weird for us.
And to this day, most delicious meat I've ever eaten.
Of course it could be. I am making myself, I'm
I'm just
deliberately
saying, I understand why it's their favorite, because that was the whole story, was their favorite,
yeah.
or a big part of
Uh,
it. So,
so
uh,
sorry to interrupt you, but this was so
oh, no,
profound for me
no, no, no.
that I
That's why
need
we
to
do this. That's why we do
I
this.
need
No,
to share
sorry.
that yes,
Yeah.
sometimes we are not even aware that how many shoulds we have still in our subconscious, in our consciousness.
Prejudices,
Yes,
unreasonable prejudices, simply
yes,
because it's different does
yes,
not make it weird.
yes,
We
yes,
have to keep that in mind. Yeah.
yes,
Different is
yes,
not weird. It's not weird at all. Yeah.
exactly. Yes,
I mean, you go to Vietnam, I think it is, or Thailand, or one of the countries in that area. I forget which one, or maybe all of them. And they have deep fried cockroaches.
yes,
You
I
buy
know,
them on
I
the
know.
street. Right?
My Chinese friends used to
They love
eat
it. Love it.
snake in front of me and turtles, and
Right.
sipping the bone of the snake, and that was like okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But still, even though I was aware that people have different choices, and
Yeah.
I saw them, they were sitting with me eating all those things, I never mind that. But when you said, I was like, oh, it's a donkey meat. A lot of prejudice, as you were saying.
Yeah.
Yes,
So amazing, so amazing.
yes,
And what is interesting in the context of weird, for the Bushman, if you did not eat something, anything, anything, they would think that to be weird because they eat absolutely everything. Grasshoppers, whatever, beetles, you name it. Cockroach, no problem. It's just another beetle to them, right? They eat the whole range, whatever you can think of. If it's edible, they'll eat it. Because food is very scarce, for them. So they are true omnivores. And if you didn't eat it, well, then you're weird. It's food. How can you not eat it? Weird, they would say. Right? So weird is very much a matter of perspective. Right? You have to be very careful. Very, very careful. But actually, this is going to come up with anomalies, Bean. Yeah.
oh yes,
So
oh yes.
next week.
Next week,
Yeah.
yes, yes, we will continue with that.
All right.
Okay, so
Let,
okay,
let's
just to give
continue
you
reading. Yeah.
a bit of precaution that I have a very good friend here sitting next to me, Abu Huraira.
Oh, good.
Yes, and he
Oh,
might
he's
ask
listening to
you.
the story. Oh, please,
Yes,
Abdullah Herrera, you're most welcome to join in as long as it's pertinent and relevant and appropriate. Always welcome. Abdullah Herrera. Yes. Yes. Yes.
She's
All right.
asking, "Am I good? Am I good?"
You are good. You are good. Yes,
Very
you are
good.
very
Yes.
good.
Yes. जी जी आप बहुत अच्छे.
Yes. Just
Okay.
tell him to watch his volume a little bit. You don't need to shout, Abdul. I can hear you very clearly when you talk normally. No problem. All right. Please continue, Beena. Please continue.
Yes, yes, I'm continuing because he was just asking, "Am I good?" And I said, "Okay, yes, perfect."
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry for interruption again, sir. I
No,
again.
don't be sorry. It's wonderful. I love it, Beena. Abdullah Herrera is a very unusual child. And as such, I feel, not just because the child's unusual, but children in general, if they come with earnestness, and Abdullah Herrera is a very earnest child, Right? You
Yeah.
have to connect to that. He wasn't asking idly if he's good. This was important to him at that moment. Yes,
Oh
Beena?
yes, very serious. Yes.
You have to deal with it. You have to make that interruption. I don't see it as an interruption. I see it as appropriate. That's
He never asked me or anyone else ever that
yeah.
am I good. He was asking you directly. Am I good? Am I
Oh,
good?
oh,
Yeah.
oh, interesting.
He was looking for your confirmation that
Wow. Oh, I thought he was asking you actually. I just said it
no,
also.
no, he was looking at you on the screen and he was
Oh,
confirming,
I can't see him, so I
am
don't
I
know.
good? Yeah,
Wow.
so he was just saying,
Yeah.
okay, am I good? Am I good? And I was
Well, I'm
surprised
glad
by
I
that.
said so. I'm glad I said
Yes.
so.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to
Okay. Let's
respond, and I responded earnestly as well. So, and he
yes.
went off.
Yes.
See, he was all happy.
Oh yes.
He went off.
Immediately.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
fantastic. It's such an important thing to be aware of the children. If you do not respond to it, that thing is going to sit with that child, become an issue.
Hmm.
That's how people
Yes.
pick up issues because these things that came up when they were children and they were earnest about it were not resolved. Very important.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
Okay. We looked at each other for a moment. His statements were insane, and yet he was, to the best of my knowledge, one of the most level headed men I had ever met.
Oh, we were a little lower. We
Okay,
were, what do you call this? That's where we were, yeah.
okay. What do you call this? What we are doing now? I asked, meaning that what we were doing was reality as opposed to dreams.
I call it eating.
He said and continue contained his laughter. I call it reality. I said, because our eating is actually taking place.
Dreaming also takes place. As the hunting, walking, laughing.
I did not persist in arguing. I could not. However, even if I stretched myself beyond my limits, accept his premise, he seemed to be delighted with my despair.
Yeah.
As soon as we had finished,
And here's the thing, see, we have to be very careful of this. I could not, even if I stretched myself beyond my limits, accept his premise. All right? This is fascinating to me. And yet also, I understand this. Like you said, we have these limitations. I see all sorts of people talking about stuff, this and that, and, hearing people talk to them from aliens. And I'm like, yeah, right. Why? Because the people I've actually watched on this. I mean, if you have any understanding of people, you, and awareness of how people behave when they're being false and phony. Now, maybe it is real and they are hearing it, but they feel false and phony because they believe that people are going to think it's false and phony, so they feel so it may still be real. I don't know. And I have to set aside my prejudices and say, well, it could be. I don't know. To me, I have really come to the point where everything is possible. And likewise, I treat like on the internet. To me, the default, everything on the internet is wrong. It's all made up. It's all a lie. Our whole reality is just a creation, right? So we have to have this. We have to develop this. I feel is very useful to develop this mindset. Everything is possible at the same time. It's all nonsense altogether,
yes,
right? When you
yes,
have that mindset, now you're dealing with stuff for the value involved, for the usefulness, for the appropriateness, and it changes whether it's true or not. It's totally irrelevant. I can get value either way. We get to that sophisticated point, which is very core to Moreness culture. One of the things that defines Moreness culture, it's open to everything, but it's not a foolish culture either. Why? Because at the same time, it is suspicious of everything. Isn't that interesting?
yes.
All right, please keep going.
Okay. As soon as he had finished his eating, he casually stated that we were going to go for a walk, for a hike. But we were not going to roam in the desert in the manner we had done before.
It's different this time. From now on, we're going to places of power. You're going to learn how to make yourself accessible to power.
I again expressed my turmoil. I said I was not qualified for that endeavor.
Well, second, Carlos, dreams are not real for you, but power is.
Wow.
Wait a second here. Yeah, I was not qualified for that endeavor. In other words, you accepted to be a reality. Based on what, Carlos? See? Okay, he has had some incidents with the thing, but still, it doesn't conform to your to the reality you had before meeting Don Juan. You've updated being accessible to power. But yet when it comes to dreaming, you refuse to do this. You already have experience of things that were preposterous at one point in time, now being accepted by you. But yet the new thing, you don't see the pattern. It's like, wow, okay. Interesting, right? Yeah.
Understanding. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Discernment, yeah.
Okay. Come on. Okay. So it's yours.
No, again, I expressed my turmoil. Just read that again, yeah.
Okay. I again expressed my turmoil. I said I was not qualified for that endeavor.
Carlos, really. Where am I now? Come on, you're indulging in silly fears. All right, sorry, I was trying to get the thing scrolled up.
Okay.
Here.
Okay.
There we go. Come
He
on,
said,
you're indulging in silly fears.
he said in a low voice, patting me on the back and smiling benevolently. I have. It's yours, sir.
I've been catering to your hunter spirit. You like to roam with me in this beautiful desert. It's too late for you to quit.
He began to walk into the desert chaparral. He signaled me with his head to follow him. I could have walked to my car and left, except that I liked to roam in that beautiful desert with him. I liked the sensation which I experienced only in his company. That, okay, this was indeed an awesome, mysterious, yet beautiful world. As he said, I was hooked. Don Juan lead me to the hills towards east. It was a long hike. It was a hot day. The heat, however, which ordinarily would have been unbearable to me, was somehow unnoticeable. We walked for quite a distance into a canyon until Don Juan came to a halt and sat down in the shade of some boulders. I took some crackers out of my knapsack, but he told me not to bother with them. He said that I should sit in a prominent place. He pointed to a single, almost round boulder 10 or 15 feet away and helped me climb to the top. I thought he was also going to sit there, but instead he just climbed part of the way in order to hand me some pieces of dry meat. He told me with a deadly serious expression that it was power meat.
All right, I'll read a bit, Beena. It seems like
Yes,
you're struggling a bit there. He told me
yes,
with a
okay.
deadly serious expression it was power meat and should be chewed very slowly and should not be mixed with any other food. He then walked back to the shaded area and sat down with his back against a rock. He seemed relaxed, almost asleep. He remained in that position until I had finished eating. Then he sat up straight and tilted his head to the right. He seemed to be listening attentively. He glanced at me 2 or 3 times, stood up abruptly, and began to scan the surroundings with his eyes, the way a hunter would do. I automatically froze on the spot and only moved my eyes in order to follow his movements. Very carefully, he stepped behind some rocks, as if we were expecting game to come into the area where we were. I realized then we were in a round cove-like bend in the dry water canyon, surrounded by sandstone boulders. Don Juan suddenly came out from behind the rocks and smiled at me. He stretched his arms, yawned, and walked towards the boulder where I was. I relaxed my tense position and sat down. What happened? I asked in a whisper. He answered me, yelling that there was nothing around there to worry about. I love when Don Juan mixes it up for poor Carlos. When he's expecting one thing and he does the opposite. Now, Don Juan does it as a matter of fun because Carlos is very attached to his expectations. Expectations cause us lots of problems. We have to be careful. I felt an immediate jolt in my stomach. His answer was inappropriate, and it was inconceivable to me that he would yell unless he had a specific reason for it. I began to slide down from the boulder, but he yelled that I should stay there a while longer. What are you doing? I asked. He sat down and then concealed himself between two rocks at the base of the boulder where I was. And then he said in a very loud voice that he had only been looking around because he thought he had heard something. I asked if he had heard a large animal. He put his hand to his ear and yelled that he was unable to hear me and that I should shout my words. I felt ill at ease yelling. It urged me in a loud voice to speak up. I shouted. I wanted to know what was going on, and he shouted back. There was really nothing around there. He yelled, asking if I could see anything unusual from the top of the boulder. I said no, and asked me to describe to him the terrain towards the south. He shouted back and forth for a while, and then he signaled me to come down. I joined him, and he whispered in my ear that the yelling was necessary to make our presence known, because I had to make myself accessible to the power of that specific waterhole. Right. So, I mean, we could get this idea already from when Don Juan started yelling, and since the chapter is called Being Accessible to Power, that this is what he was doing, right? I looked around, but I could not see the waterhole. He pointed that we were standing on it. Ah, there's water here, he said in a whisper. So power. There's a spirit here, and we have to lure it out. Perhaps it will come after you. I wanted to know more about the alleged spirit, but he insisted on total silence. He advised me to stay perfectly still and not let out a whisper or make the slightest movement to betray our presence. Apparently, it was easy for him to remain in complete immobility for hours. Me, however, it was sheer torture. My legs fell asleep, my head ached, and tension built up around my neck and shoulders. My entire body became numb and cold. I was in great discomfort when Don Juan finally stood up. He just sprang to his feet and extended his hand to me to help me stand up. As I was trying to stretch my legs, I realized inconceivable easiness, which Don Juan had jumped up after hours of immobility. It took quite some time for my muscles to regain the elasticity needed for walking. It's very interesting, this. It's a skill that one can learn. I remember doing this when we practiced meditation in the dojo. And I was a Ushideshi in the dojo. We would obviously sit there for hours, can't move really. But if you put an attention into your legs and energy and keep the flow and stuff going there, I was always able to stand up right away, do what Don wanted. Much to the amazement of all the others there, always creak up. It's just a skill that you have to learn. Like everything, all skills you have to learn. It took quite some time for my muscles to regain the elasticity needed. Don Juan headed back for the house. It's all energy dependent, by the way. My muscles get stiff now because my energy is focused elsewhere. Where you place your energy to. It's not only that you need to have the energy, but you need to make the effort to actually focus it there. Don Juan headed back for the house. Did you want to say something, Beena?
No, I'm just listening right now. So please continue.
Okay. Don Juan headed back for the house. He walked extremely slowly. He set up a length of 3 paces as the distance I should observe and follow him. He meandered around the regular route and crossed it 4 or 5 times in different directions. When he finally arrived at his house, it was late afternoon. I tried to question him about the events of the day. He explained. Talking was unnecessary. For the time being, I had to refrain from asking questions until we were in a place of power. I was dying to know what he meant by that and tried to whisper a question, but he reminded me with a cold, severe look meant business. We sat on his porch for hours. I worked on my notes. From time to time, he handed me a piece of dry meat. Finally, it was too dark to write. I tried to think about the new developments, but some part of myself refused to. Listen. All right, we'll leave it there for today. So we've got something coming up, and it's just exciting stuff coming up. And we like to leave on cliffhangers. No, not really. It's just it's all about appropriateness. Sometimes it's cliffhangers, sometimes it's not. Yeah, it all depends. But we're all good. All right, we'll leave it there for today. I just wanted to say to Naxi Im, like three eyes in there. And just join us. And also hello again, once again, to Samantha. Hello, Samantha. Always happy to see you here and join us. Wonderful, Samantha. Wonderful. I would love to hear from you at some point, Samantha. Really, very much love to hear. You're always welcome to comment, ask questions. Even welcome to come join us here on live on Zoom if you want. If you want to really get into a discussion, more than welcome. Of course, also just listening, also very powerful. Right, Beena? Always good. So good to see you again, Samantha.
Oh, yes, always, always, always.
Yeah,
Okay.
brilliant, brilliant. All right. Bye bye, everybody. Bye bye, everybody. We'll
Okay,
see
thank you so much.
you maybe tomorrow, most likely Tuesday. We have a lot to do tomorrow.
Okay, okay, okay. So yes,
Yeah.
we will see you guys next time. Of course, same time, same place. It could be tomorrow. It could be day after tomorrow. But
Well,
before
more or
we
less
go,
same time. We were a little earlier today. So
oh
always.
yes, it was not in my mind. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, more or less same time, but yes, a bit later than this. We were doing it earlier because we have some commitments before that. But before we go, as always, please do pay attention to your online algorithm because it is directly connected to your life algorithm. Wherever you are
All
going to pay attention, universe is going to maximize it. Pay attention. Okay, see you guys tomorrow.
right. Wonderful. 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 Bye bye, everybody. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.